By 1985, Thatcher had won this war too. Workers were going hungry and couldn't hold out. In the end, 966 people were fired. It was a devastating setback for Britain's most powerful union, and it sent a clear message to the others. If Thatcher was willing to go to the wall to break the coal miners, on whom the country depended for its lights and warmth, it would be suicide for weaker unions producing less crucial products and services to take on her new economic order. Better just to accept whatever was on offer. It was a message very similar to the one Ronald Reagan had sent a few months after he took office, with his response to a strike by the air traffic controllers. By not showing up to work, they had forfeited their jobs and will be terminated, Reagan said. Then he fired 11,400 of the country's most essential workers in a single blow. A shock from which the U.S. labor movement has yet to fully recover. In Britain, Thatcher parlayed her victory in the Falklands and over the miners into a major leap forward for her radical economic agenda. Between 1984 and 1988, the government privatized, among others, British Telecom, British Gas, British Airways, British Airport Authority, and British Steel, while it sold its shares in British Petroleum. Much as the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 would take an unpopular president and hand him an opportunity to launch a massive privatization initiative, in Bush's case the privatization of security, warfare, and reconstruction, Thatcher used her war to launch the first mass privatization auction in a Western democracy. This was the real Operation Corporate, one with historic implications. Thatcher's successful harnessing of the Falklands War was the first definitive evidence that a Chicago school economic program did not need military dictatorships and torture chambers in order to advance. She had proved that with a large enough political crisis to rally around, a limited version of shock therapy could be imposed in a democracy. It was in 1982 that Milton Friedman wrote the highly influential passage that best summarizes the shock doctrine. Only a crisis, actual or perceived, produces real change. When that crisis occurs, the actions that are taken depend on the ideas that are lying around. That, I believe, is our basic function, to develop alternatives to existing policies, to keep them alive and available until the politically impossible becomes politically inevitable. The kind of crisis Friedman had in mind was not military, but economic. If an economic crisis hits, and is severe enough, a currency meltdown, a market crash, a major recession, it blows everything else out of the water. And leaders are liberated to do whatever is necessary, or said to be necessary, in the name of responding to a national emergency.
This world gets all around me, but nothing here feeds to satisfy. So I've grown this face, perfect in disguise. So you don't know what I feel. It's more